I've been doing a course online by Beth Morey that's called Made e-course, and this last week we were talking about making journals and how we use our journals, and I commented that I had got a number of different types of journals, and somebody was like, how do you keep up with them all? So I thought I'd just quickly show you what I have. This book I picked up from Asda, and this is recycled leather, and the paper inside it is a really nice quality paper. You can see it kind of. And I started this the same day we started a new phase as a church. I wanted to start something new, and this had been lying around and I thought so I'd do it. And I picked up some journal prompts from a website in Australia, an Australian company that makes and sells journals, and they have a whole load of journal prompts on there, and I'm working through some of those and some of the stuff from the Made e-course, and some of it's about doing creative things, some of it's about sticking a picture in and writing something about it, some of it's stream of consciousness writing or drawing something or childhood memories. Let me find this one. Is a painting that I saw when I was in Romania. Zoom in a little bit for you so you can get a better look at it. I went to Romania on a mission trip, and we got taken to this art gallery, and I'd wandered round and round it. We'd been there for quite a while, and then we got to the room where this painting was, and I stood in front of this painting and just absolutely fell in love with it. It's huge, and the detail and the history, and I just absolutely fell in love with this picture and managed to find a picture of it on the museum website when I got back. And so here it is in my journal. And then there's this one, which you may have seen on Facebook or Twitter. So there's all sorts of things in here. So that's the first one. Then there's my writing exercises journal, which, here we go, in fact if I turn that round, has word list, writing exercises and daybook. That's from when I was working through a daybook. And the word list is just a random list, if I can open it, of words for if you want to do some creative writing but you can't think of what to write, open it up, choose a word and go for it. The writing exercises is all sorts of different things, but most of Jochebed's story is in there. And if you haven't heard me talk about Jochebed's story, watch out for that coming up. I have finally finished it, but I'm sitting with the story for a while before I decide what I'm going to do with it. And I do like the sturdiness of the cover on this one. This is my regular writing journal. I'm not going to show you what's written in it, but I will show you some of the things it has in it. You can see the paper, and it's a nice paper for writing on. The pens that I use work well on it, but it has these pockets, an index card size one, there's a full page one, and then there's one that does 4. And what I've done is cut into the slot on these in the same way that I did on the bookmark for the step-by-step journal, so that I can remove them and put them in different places as I need to. And it's also meant that when I bought a second of these, because this is the second of this journal that I've used, I was able to pull the ones from the old one and transfer them over to this one. And it also has, if I can find them, oh, there's the 4 to a page one. Some cardboard pockets as well. So that's my regular written journal. Then there's the step-by-step Bible Notes journal. that you may have seen the video for or seen on Facebook. You might have seen this one. This is how far I'm up to now, to the plagues in Egypt. So that's that. This is one that was made for me by a friend. She covered it, and every loop had one of these fabric little bows on it, and some of them seem to have fallen off. I'm sorry, Angela, I seem to have lost them. And it's been used for all sorts of things. Practice, some backgrounds with journaling on them, working on things that I need to work out before I do them on a bigger piece. There's a lot of work like that in here, which that one is. And that was going to be a necklace on the bigger piece, those beads. So I'm then working out the spacing and the fact that they need to be bigger at the bottom of the necklace and smaller as they go around. Some drawing practice. I love this page. I was making a lot of new stencils on a dance theme for a journal that a friend had commissioned me to do, and I just needed to check out that they were clear and that they were working okay, and so a lot of those are in here. This one was using up pieces that were left over from another project, and then there's lots of ink left over from other projects, paint left over from other projects, just slapped down onto a page. And then there's, if I can find it, unfinished pages like that one. There's all sorts of things in here, and this is where I was trying to work out how different paints work over different media, or different types of colour work over different base media, and how different pens then work over the top of that. So all of that there is that, just testing it out, seeing how it would work, and so on. So that's that one. Lots of real art, lots of practice art. It is what it is. And then there's the big journal. Check I've got this the right way round. Nope, that's the cover. This is A4 size. You can see how big it is compared to my hands. And I just started this with quite a while ago now. 8th of January 2012 I started this one. I do try and remember to date my pages most of the time, and when I want to do something bigger and I want to do a full A4 spread without having to work across lines, you know, the spiral binding in another one, I do this. That was for another class on another thing. Then I was working on some charcoal portraits. They're not the best, but compared to what I thought I could do up until that point, I think they're amazing. So there's those. Some random... I love this page. There's some pages in this journal that I really love. This is one of them. This is another. Let's turn that around so you can see that. There you go. And this one. And then I started working through Bernice's class, the alphabet class. And you can see I did A, B, C, I did D, E and F, I did G, I did H, and then it started to go a little bit, well, not quite so well. So I did I missed J completely, or I started I started K, I started L, and then there's nothing. But what I have done is, before I've done any more pages, I have left enough blank pages to come back and finish the alphabet at some point. And if I don't do it through the notes from Bernice's class, I'll do it some other way. But my intention is to come back and finish the alphabet at some point. And then I've started doing some pages for the MAID course. And this is the first one that you may have seen on Facebook or on my Flickr. And this is worked through a stencil. It's moulding paste, which I then coloured over with spray inks, and then worked in oil pastels and chalk pastels, and put the drawing and the quotes on the top. And then this one, very much simpler than my usual art journal pages that you've seen. As you've looked through them, you'll have noticed there's lots and lots of layers, and this one doesn't have as many layers, but I'm really pleased with it. I do admit to having traced the outlines for the figure, but all the shading I did myself freehand by eye from copying what was on the picture that I traced. And then there's just a few pages left in there, so I will need another big journal soon. So it may be that if I do make myself a new one to follow last week's class, I will make a bigger one by buying much larger paper. So there you go. Those are my journals. Oh, we missed one. Hang on. This is my lettering practice book. This is the first book that I did Coptic binding on. I started with something small and I'm really pleased with it. And I wanted something with squared paper in, but nice, decent squared paper. And this really is a nice paper, I could do lettering practice on, and I did this one at church, and then I've just been practicing different alphabets, and you can see some of them go really, really well, and then some of them don't go so well at all. Like there's all sorts of, no, that's not quite right, that's not quite right, I can't get this right, but it's a practice book, so that's okay. I've done all sorts of different, lots of mistakes on this one. Some alphabets are more difficult for me to do freehand than others. And it's a nice size to be able to carry around with me. You can see it in relation to the A4. So I think it's an A6 size by the look of it. But I do want to make a bigger one. I want to get some bigger, nice squared paper, or maybe even use graph paper, I'm not sure, and make a bigger lettering journal so that I can do practice on a bigger scale. So that's that. That's all the journals finished. Just counting them up, that makes 7 journals that I have on the go at the moment. There's another one which is an old finished art journal on my shelf, and there's another one which I've put to one side for now, which I was working on, which was a health and fitness art journal, which I haven't done anything in for a long time, so that's to one side. So that gives you an idea. If you want a closer look at anything you've seen, leave me a comment or a message and I'll try and do that for you.